Wow, this episode of Recreators was a really deep episode. This was a really heavy episode, and it followed the standard Recreators format in Recreators episode 11, where I don't want to say that the first half was fluff, but it was definitely the last 8 or 9 or 10 minutes that defined the entire episode and gave you everything that you needed, while the beginning of the episode was build up. And I'll get to the build-up part in a little bit, because this whole video probably will be about what we learned in this episode, as Sota has finally come forward and confessed what happened between him and Shimazaki, as he is the indirect, in a way, it's depending on how you look at it. It's like he is the purpose of Altair and her rampage. And after seeing this episode, I mean, when someone takes their life, you can't really, you know, put the blame completely on someone, but in some cases, if someone was there to talk to them, or somebody was there at that moment, it may have delayed the inevitable, or maybe even talked them off that ledge, for lack of a better word to use in this situation, as we found out with Sota, because a majority of the episode was just Sota chilling with Kyoya or Ryui. I can always mispronounce his name, the robot kid, about talking to him about how he shouldn't worry about things that he can't change, because if you try to do everything and change everything in this world, that weight is definitely going to bring you down to a place that's so deep you won't be able to crawl out of. And things like that, like the talk that he had with Meteora, even with Magane, people have been saying a lot of things to Sota that's bringing out this event that we learned in him, and making him feel more and more guilty about what happened with Setsuna or Shimazaki. And it finally came to light in this episode when everyone once again was in a room thinking like, how are we going to find Altair's creator? And Meteora was going to reveal it, but Sota finally came clean and said, we're not going to be able to find her creator because she's already dead, and I killed her. I have a part in this. Basically what occurred with these two was that they became friends, you know, on that site where people put up their drawings and everything. They both were artists. They both admired each other's work, and they began to communicate with each other, and they became friends, and they decided to meet up at a like a convention or a meeting for that Megalosphere event. So they finally met each other face to face there, and Shimazaki was such a sweetheart, man. This episode was heavy because she really didn't deserve what she got. At this moment when they met up with each other after becoming friends and admiring each other's work, and I can relate to Sota, and I know a lot of us can, you know, viewers and content creators, they had something special because, you know, of course he had friends, and, you know, he was kind of lonely or whatever. He had friends. It wasn't like he was an outcast completely, but he didn't have a friend who was an otaku, somebody who loved the things that he loved and felt as strongly about the things like he does. And that occurs with a lot of us content creators, and even like in life with friends. Like me, for example, you know, I have friends, but I don't really have that many friends that love anime as much as I do, for example. So we saw the same thing here with Sota and Shimazaki, so that's why it was so nice to see these two meet up. And when they were at this fan event, they were like up on the rafters so they can get a better view of the people that was there, and she almost slipped over a ledge, and Sota grabbed her and pulled her over the edge. She lost her glasses. She said she was completely blind without her glasses, and he gave her his glasses. It was just a sweet and powerful moment, and to see how, you know, nice and wholesome she was as a character, it really just hit the feels to know that she's gone, because she's a really nice character. She's somebody that you would have liked to have been around. And after the event, you know, as some time passed, Setsuna's drawings began to get more and more popular, to the point where she was actually doing videos with famous producers and things like that. Her stardom began to rise as Sota was going nowhere. He was still at the same place that he was in. And because of that, he began to get a little bit jealous, a little bit envious, and that is always one of the biggest evils that you can have, because he started not communicating with her anymore when she started to get big, when she started to rise up. He started to get distant and go further away, and what led to these events is that the bigger she got, the more people began to try to tear her down, or did tear her down, plagiarize her, and say that she was plagiarizing work, that she was copying, that she should just go kill herself. And when you're dealing in this age of cyberbullying and things like that, you know, a lot of people can't deal with that type of thing. Even if it's just words on the screen, you can't deal with it. And it's very different now than it was back like in the older days. Like when you got bullied in school, at least you didn't have to worry about it when you got home. Now with social media and all these things like that, you get bullied in school, you get bullied on your social media sites, you get just pretty much anywhere that somebody can type something, someone's going to bother you, and that really does take a toll on people. And that's ultimately what happened to Shimazaki, as the pressure of people who were jealous of her, who were envious of her, began to tear her down and hurt her in ways that she felt that it was just better to take her own life than to deal with it. And Sota's involvement in this is that as she was getting tore down, he actually felt the same way. Like the more that she got bashed, he was beginning to like it because he wasn't going anywhere. He was like, well, that's what you get because I'm nowhere. What makes you think that you should get so far? And he had that mindset. And it was even to the point where when people were talking about her and tearing her down and things like this, he wanted to, you know, interject. He wanted to say something and protect his friend, but he didn't do it because, you know, he didn't want to start a troll war. He didn't want to pull himself into that to protect his friend. So he just stayed back and just did nothing. And then he was already not speaking to her. And perhaps it's a little bit more to it. I'm pretty sure she may have tried to reach out to him at some point and let him know where she was in her life, but he wasn't paying attention to her anymore. And that ultimately caused the end. And when he told everybody, he was like, when she was getting bashed, when she was getting tore down, it made me feel better about myself, about the low situation that I'm in. And I kind of liked it. So this is why it's my fault that she's dead. It's my fault that her creation is now trying to destroy this planet in order to destroy everyone that was against her, namely me, because I wasn't there. Man, that was just a powerful episode. It took us 11 episodes to finally get here, and we're approaching the halfway point of this series, but you talk about a punch in the gut. I mean, this is just something like, as a content creator, as you know, you see online, you see your friends getting bullied and stuff like that, and then you try to jump in, and then everybody just keeps going in more. It just fans more flames to the fire. It's like, it's a whole bunch of things that myself and probably a lot of other people who watch this episode can relate to. And I haven't watched like any reviews or reactions to anybody that I follow yet, but I'm pretty sure they feel the same way. Is that you see people that you know, your colleagues or your friends, and you see like people criticizing them wrongfully just because they're jealous or envious. You want to do something. We've probably all been in that situation where we just felt that, you know, they'll be fine, but you never know how that person on the other side of things feel. And as we know, Shimazaki, it took her to her end. It was just something that she couldn't deal with anymore. Now, if there's any more to it, again, I'm really waiting to see if they probably had some type of interaction where he decided, you know what, I'm just not going to talk to you anymore, or did he just blow her off completely? We might still get that, but for now, we just got to deal with the weight of being introduced to this character that was so optimistic, wholesome, and just happy to be alive and doing what she does, and to see everything just, well, she took it away from herself by taking her life, but to see all that gone now, man. So as far as the rest of the episode goes, we really just see everybody licking their wounds. You know, Yuya's down because, you know, he lost his persona. Meteora and Celicia are recovering in the hospital, and we actually got a pretty good scene with Celicia and her creator. By, you know, she was thanking him for everything that he done, and he was like, thank the fans, because the fans who wanted to see you actually achieve this level and get this weapon, they were the ones that empowered me in order to get you to be at that level. And Celicia, she wants to go back to her home, but she really does like the world that we're in because we have so many stories. You know, we have so many novels, anime, movies, cartoons, etc. So many things in the form of media that she doesn't have in our world. And of course, our creator's like, yes, because I didn't write it. But if you like it so much, if it fascinates you so much, I'll start writing stories into your story in order to make you happy. So that was a really good moment to see those two bond together. I know, like, the creators themselves, I mean, they're kind of just there. They're kind of side characters. They really don't focus on them too much. But to see a creator and a creation talking and having this bond with each other, kind of making, you know, that promise that I will do more things now that I know you as a character, instead of more just somebody that I just created and wrote on a piece of paper. I'm gonna do more things to make you as a character happy. That was a big scene as well. And of course, you know, we still have the bigger menace out there, which is Miggy, because she is 100% confirmed not to be aligned with Altair. I mean, we already know that, but now we have the rest of the characters saying, you know, she's out doing her own thing and she needs to be stopped too. And everybody knows how crazy she is. So I wonder in part 2 of her series, of her plan, where is she gonna go? Because now that we're at the halfway point, I'm kind of hoping we start to see more characters from more lines of work, and just how far it is Miggy gonna go to start manipulating people, because I doubt she would get her own team. I think she's just gonna bring more and more people into this fold and just try to watch everybody destroy each other, and I am waiting for that. So yeah, this was a very good episode. Again, the first half was really just build up, but when we finally found out what happened between Shimazaki and Sota, it just hit me so hard. And man, the feels were there in this episode, and I really did enjoy it. But you know, I'm glad I waited. I'm glad I waited to watch it while I isolated it to itself, and I didn't watch it after, you know, like Attack on Titan or Boku no Hero, because that definitely would have took my hype away, because this episode was kind of sad. So let me know what you guys thought of the episode in the comments below. Do you agree that it was Sota's fault? I mean, personally, again, because she took her own life, you can't completely blame Sota, but the fact that he confessed that he was actually happy that people were tearing her down, I don't know how I feel about that, man. That's just something that you don't do. You shouldn't hope for someone to fail, especially if they're your friend. So yeah, let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. If you liked the video, go ahead and drop it a like, and if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because there's not a shortage of content you indulge on his channel. As I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. On that note, this your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.